And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for June 5th. Tropical Depression Cristobal is barely hanging on over the Yucatan Peninsula, and the other two cyclones that we've been looking at are all gone as well, really. As we look at June the 5th, 2020, we're under code blue, the second lowest on our scale, our new scale. Currently active, Tropical Depression Cristobal inland, just about moving over the province of Campeche in Mexico. It was briefly in Guatemala, and it's now moving towards the north. Day 22 in the eastern Pacific, we've marked a 10% area there, just in case that one does decide it wants to pop up and form. I don't believe the National Hurricane Center have anything on their books. The remnants of Nisarga are still going, believe it or not, and generating convection as they enter as it enters Nepal, and X92A is over the Red Sea. Also still going, still traceable if nothing else. Nothing active in the southern hemisphere, of course. We're expecting those animations in the next 2 weeks for the season that we've just had. So this is Tropical Depression Cristobal right now, 35 miles per hour and a pressure of 1002 millibars, our latest estimate. CDPS stage 4, 53 miles southeast of Escasega, 18.2 north, 90 degrees west. Over the next few days, we expect, if it does become a tropical storm again, it will have to get a move on as it moves towards the north there. We're expecting it in the next 24 hours, then shooting up there, making landfall now looks like Louisiana as a tropical depression, and then moving inland and weakening further. The storm could still be stronger at landfall, but we're still gambling on it being weaker due to slowing down just before it strikes land. Cristobal right now, you can see on the far left hand side there, nothing else going on in the Atlantic right now, nothing really of note. There's a very low latitude disturbance there down in the southeast, but nothing I think will develop out of that, way too early. You can see Cristobal looking less and less tropical as time goes on, but a massive rain maker, not only for Mexico but for surrounding areas. Believe it or not, around 44 inches has fallen near the landfall zone according to satellites. That's over 1,100 millimeters. That's an incredible number. If it's anywhere near true, that is probably catastrophic. And that 10% area there we've marked on that screen as well. The Western Pacific looking rather quiet again. Today there is another bare swirl there, or half swirl, that's just past the Mariana Islands and moving into the Philippine Sea. Maybe in a different year those two that we've been looking at might have generated tropical cyclones this year. No such luck or anything at all so far, apart from Vong Fong. In the southern Pacific, there is a potent little area there north of Fiji, but very disorganized. We don't think we're going to see any more cyclones here until the next season. And in the North Indian Ocean, there's the two remnants, two leftovers of what were once tropical cyclones. At least on our books they were. Even 92A we had as a tropical storm briefly when it made landfall in Oman. Sea surface temperatures are very warm in the east and the East Pacific, around 29 or 30 degrees Celsius. Cooling down quite a bit where Amanda and Cristobal have been. The Gulf waters getting a bit cooler, 27 to 28 degrees generally. The Atlantic warming up out in the main areas there. Still some way to go for that yet. The North Indian Ocean, you can see that cool slot a little bit better now from Nisarga the other day, but generally still pushing 30 degrees Celsius in that basin. The Western Pacific, same too in the South China Sea and off the east coast of the Philippines, 30 degrees plus. Very warm. And warmer than average in those latter two areas and in the tropical zone of the Atlantic. All warmer than average, but quite clearly you can still see that La Nina event in the East Pac. Tropical Depression Cristobal is becoming more and more messy as time goes on. As we look at this imagery right now, you can see the rotation is still there, but it does appear to me that that rotation continues to diminish, and if it's not careful, Cristobal could be on its way to turning post-tropical and being a remnant low, being nothing at all, as it shifts towards the north. And as I say, it will have to do that shift pretty soon. What is most telling is probably the infrared sandwich imagery. You can see how that convection from further north is really starting to engulf the storm itself, really, and that is an indicator that it's possibly losing those tropical characteristics. It's something we're going to have to watch really closely, whether Cristobal will fight back and whether it has any chance at all at becoming a tropical storm again as it moves back over the Gulf of Mexico. But as we know, anything is possible and things could change drastically in the course of 24 hours. As it is, the National Hurricane Center still expecting a 60-mile-per-hour peak just before it strikes the US coast. GFS calling for that peak to happen earlier, but for it to weaken before striking land, and the other models I think on board with that as well. Wind shear there around low to moderate, sea surface temperatures decent, and relative humidity at the moment is very high but will start to decrease as it heads north. And you can see those model trajectories there, rather uncertain about exactly where it will track. This is the HWRF that we're focusing in on here for the tropical storm force winds in green, and we've also got the HMON, which is calling for something similar but much broader and more displaced to the east, that wind field. Both of those models saying that tropical storm force winds will be few and far between on land. On this day, on June the 5th, 1995, we had 3 tropical cyclones active: Dana, Eli, and Allison. In the Atlantic, Allison started the day as a Category 1, weakened to a high-end tropical storm before making landfall on the Florida Panhandle. So, Cristobal, the only named feature that's a tropical cyclone at this point on day 157 so far of 2020. The next name in the Atlantic will be Dolly. In the Eastern Pacific, we're looking for Boris. In the Central Pacific, the next name on list 1 is Hone. 28 storms so far around the world. Nuri is next in the Western Pacific, list 3. And in the North Indian Ocean, the next name on the list now is Gati. That's on their brand new list that they've started in 2020. And a lot more names on those lists that will keep them going for many years to come. In the Australian region, the next name is Imogen, and in the Southwest Indian Ocean, if we do get a storm before the end of the month, it will be called Kundai before going onto the new list and starting at A again. And in Fiji, the next name is Yolanda. Check out our new look cyclone tracker on the Force 13 website for the latest up-to-date information. You can also find us, of course, on our YouTube channel, search Force 13, and also on Facebook and Twitter, Force 13 at Force 13 on Twitter for the latest updates. You can also help the project become even better by becoming an Ultimate Fan on YouTube. To see the full list of Ultimate Fan benefits and to join, visit youtube.com/Force13/join. With a special thanks to our top supporters this month. You can also check out our growing merch store so you can show Force 13's colours wherever you go. You can also find a link to our Discord server underneath this video in the description.